Host with the most of Morning Glory, Matty Johns joins us. Good afternoon, Matty.
Hey, Sugar. Hey, Sugar. Hey, Fletch. How you
Hello,
going?
Matthew.
Ezra, how are you? That is the best.
Yeah, he'd had a few beers. Come in here, Gibbo, just so you can defend yourself.
Come on,
Gibbo.
Had a few tears for fears.
He's
Here
had
he
a
comes.
few. He's had
Here
a
he
few.
comes. Clap him in, ladies and
It's
gentlemen. Here he
always,
comes.
it's always good to have him live. So I got a text message.
Show it
I
on,
got a
Gibbo.
text message, and it said, "Oh, boys, this is from Shawnee."
Sean
Said,
the
"Boys,
trader."
you're not going to believe what happened. I've just had to put Gibbo into a car, and the Uber driver turned around and said, 'Oh, welcome, madam.'"
No, that is all wrong.
Oh, you sure?
That is all wrong.
Okay.
First of all, we'd only had 2 or 3 beers, and Sean was getting into the cab with me on the way to the footy.
Okay. But did he
So
say?
you his
Did he
girlfriend,
say?
were you?
No,
Yeah.
I had to go take a slash because he had got the cab, so I went downstairs quickly. I stood up and I took a slash, and then I went back to the cab.
Did you stand up or sit down for the
Yeah, I was
slate?
going to say.
But
That's why I said stand up.
did he
yeah.
say, "G'day, ma'am"?
So I get into the taxi. He turns around and he says, "Oh, g'day, ma'am." Yeah, he did say that. Because I was then trying to wonder how did he know that I was ladylike, and I was sort of
It's
doing
your
a
hair,
slight jog.
Ezra.
It is.
It's not my hair. Look at this.
It
Ellen
is.
to give
Yeah,
it one
it's
it's
long.
long.
Ball.
Yeah.
The first time I actually met you, Gibbo, I only saw you from back on. I thought, not bad sort.
Yeah, well, you always had like that G-string that I wear, Matty.
Oh, Gibbo, welcome back.
Thanks, boys. Anyway, I'll let you guys speak in peace.
No, you can stay here. You got
Nah,
a question
good as
for
gold.
Yeah, you can stay here with Matthew. What's doing, Matthew? What did you do today?
Oh, mate, Fletch, I've got the tracksuit pants on. I've got the woolly jumper. Geez, I love the cold. I love winter.
Yeah.
I love the fact it's come around. I'm pumped. But apart from that, it's just South Sydney watch, isn't it?
Oh, it's the South Sydney-a-thon, isn't it?
How do you get it? There's no way. Is there a way out?
Well, I did some. You know how you like stats.
Yeah.
Well,
Crunch numbers.
they need to win 65% of their remaining games to make the 8.
Right.
Can they do it? 65%.
Well, the thing about it is, Fletch, if Latrell comes back, right, and he's fit, focused, and firing, there's every chance they can go on a long run. But the irony of it all is that every chance that when he does return fit, focused, and ready to go,
All the Fs.
then Jason Demetrio won't be there.
Yeah. Well,
You know,
my
I
spies.
find it. He's going to need a miracle, and probably that's some.
My spies tell me round 10.
Okay, well, that's better news than what's probably been reported.
Yeah, he's got a month to go. That's what former South Sydney players get on a WhatsApp group, and you get
gotcha.
told some sort of things. Shout out to you, Darren Brown.
But do you think he can absorb another flogging?
No,
No.
I don't like a flogging. No, but if they just show some effort and they show some improvement, I think they can come out the other side. But it's not looking great without Latrell, because I watched the game again, the Warriors game. Although he didn't sort of seem interested, every time he got the ball, something happened. He released Whiten 3 or 4 times on the left.
Yep.
But I know what you're saying. As a fullback, it's just not good enough.
Well, they're all bagging the forwards, which is fair enough in part, but it's a rolling boulder, and the back three for South are doing like they were smartly kicking to Thompson.
Yeah.
Shot duck, hitting him. He was their best runner, so he couldn't run. Latrell wouldn't run.
Yeah.
You need him to contribute there. That's my concern here with the team changes. Like Tyrone Munro's not a runner; he's just a try scorer.
Yeah.
Jai Gray's about 77 kilos.
And debuting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those ones. This is going to sound crazy, but you know what it's like sometimes, boys. Players, even the stars, are a little bit naive to the influence they have on the team and their teammates. And those very best players, the very best, the cream of the crop and the crop of the cream, their moods just bleed through a football team. And I've seen it a little bit. I've seen it with more than a little bit. I've seen it with Kalen at Newcastle. In the last few years, it's been frustrating waiting for Kalen to actually understand the influence he has on the team. And it's really only happened in the last 6 months. And it's been a big change. And Latrell is very much the same. I just wonder sometimes if Latrell fully understands the impact that he has on the playing group. You know, whether he's in the mood, whether he's not, he's ill-disciplined, whatever, his frustrations just bleed through the football side. But, you know, when you have that sort of influence, you know, you've got responsibilities that come with it. And what's happened of late is Latrell's frustrations basically have been, you know, have outridden his responsibilities.
Tell you another bloke, Cody Walker. Now, don't forget that Cody Walker is the incumbent man of the match at State of Origin.
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever in the history of the game seen an incumbent man of the match from State of Origin miss the next selection if they're fully fit. We've never seen that, have we? And the way things are going, that's how it's looking, isn't it?
Well, Fletch,
Definitely.
yeah, we've spoken about if they picked the side tomorrow, who would be the 6. But it's funny, like Fletch, it was not funny, is that since when South Sydney came back in the competition in 2002, it's been a long, slow process of like carefully building that roster and getting the team and getting the club back to where all the supporters hoped it could be. And they've done that. The last decade's been fantastic. But isn't it funny? It takes a long time, so long to build it, and how quickly it flattens out. It's it's happened just suddenly. I mean, we remind ourselves, fellas, that round 11 last year, they were on a 6-game winning streak. They just had a really clinical win over the Tigers, and you're going, well, they're the team to beat. They just belted the Broncos, they belted the Storm, and they'd beaten Penrith. And they're the side to beat. And since then, they've just completely gone off the cliff and hadn't shown any signs of coming back.
No, it's going to be very hard for them. But Matthew, in better news, I know we've been discussing how entertaining the games have been. What I've been noticing is teams are now starting to push the envelope with some plays. We saw Wade Egan with that little dummy half play. We saw in Vegas. They did your play. That was a Newcastle play. That
Next Johnny.
So teams are obviously getting on board this entertainment style because the game against Brisbane and Melbourne, that was one of the best games I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was fantastic. And Fletch, like a lot of times, do you remember ruck plays were a really big deal? Like in Newcastle, we spent half our off-season working on little ruck plays in around the rucks off our 9. Little trick shots or just little ways of getting forward and getting your forwards one-on-one tackles. And the ruck play, because of the 10-metre rule, sort of went out of vogue a little bit.
Yeah.
But now you're starting to see like Egan and those clever dummy halves jumping out and having an impact. Harry Grant, all those guys. You know, it's a huge weapon.
You got to play. You got to ask some questions. Like the Titans are completing it at 80%, and up until they were getting lapped last week to the Cowboys, they're playing these boring block-shaped things out the back. Everyone's shifting, and it wasn't until they started getting flogged where they opened the shoulders a little bit.
Yeah.
And then as soon as they did that, they started to chase them down.
Yeah.
Well, just that formation football, playing block to block to block for a long side. Honestly, the best teams, how are you going to beat the best teams playing that way?
Yeah.
Because they play similar formations, have been for the last 15 years, and they just recognise it coming. You know, like the Broncos' first try the other night, if you go back and have a look at it, it was a full, like 3/4 of the width of the field. Just a very simple, conventional fast ball movement. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sets of hands, and they score in the corner. And these days, of course, the block formations, you know, what defences do these days, they're very, very conscious of not sliding till the ball goes past you. They go in and they squeeze, and once they go to that sweep shape out the back, then they release. Now, if teams try to defend that way against a team who just rapidly fires the ball, then you're going to beat them around the outside just about every time.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty... The Broncos have got some strike. Not all teams have those. So they've got to be a little bit tricky, don't they?
Yeah.
But it's been... we've been rapping it every week about how the game's going.
Game's never been better.
No, it's flying. Matthew, we've got Matt Gudinski coming on later on. Son of the great Michael Gudinski. Have you got any questions we'd like to ask him? Did you ever meet the old man?
Yeah, numerous times.
Yeah,
numerous times run into him at certain shows, and we run it. Remember the night we had a beer with him at the night we had the Foo Fighters show?
Oh, was he there?
Gudinski was there that night with Chuggy and a few of those blokes.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
the documentary's on tonight. Ego.
Oh,
the
mate,
Michael
the
Gudinski
documentary is sensational.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, so it's awesome.
Okay.
It's fantastic. It's really what a great cross reference of like Australian, not just Australian music, but Australian society in those days, going through into the 70s and 80s and into the 90s. It's awesome. But some of the bands that he looked after, that he would bring out touring and that, man, the stories he'd have about them. I mean, Chuggy, when I interviewed Michael Chug, who's one of the greatest, up there with Gudinski, one of our very best rock promoters, the stories that he had about bringing bands out, particularly the Fleetwood Mac story.
Yeah.
It was just inside, just honestly, just bugle everywhere. And what they did, he used to have to go, in the late 70s, early 80s, he had to go and buy like cartons and cartons and cartons of Heineken for Fleetwood Mac. And he said after the gigs he would go out there and look, and he said the bottle tops would be off them, but there was no one drinking out of the. And he said, mate, they're taking the piss. He went and said, listen, do you know how hard Heineken is to get into the country? And they went, yeah. And he said, well, no one's touching the drink. He said, well, I'll show you why. And he said, either side of the stage, they had all the bottles turned up with with cocaine on it. And what they do, they go side of stage, just have a whack, and they'd be straight back out there. So that was rock and roll in the late 70s.
Matty, they tried, because the Rumours album,
yes,
they tried to sneak their drug dealer onto the back for the credits.
Uh-huh.
But then, just as they were about to do it, they found out he was dead.
Oh.
Yeah.
Geez, that's rough going.
That is.
Because, of course, Stevie Nicks, if you're a lead singer, and they say that cocaine use or nasal cocaine use affects your vocal cords, and so there's famous stories about Stevie Nicks that she would do it another way.
Oh, okay.
Which they said was
Sri Lankan fast bowler.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, right.
That's
hey,
right.
Matthew, I've never asked you this. Who's your favourite band of all time? Because you're right into your music. One band. I just want one answer. One answer.
Oasis. I love Oasis. Yep.
Oh, Tourist. Hang on. Matthew, Tourist just shook his head. What's happened there, Turi?
Oh, I think they're the most overrated pile of tripe I've ever heard in my life.
Oh, come
hang
on,
on.
Tourist.
Do you know what I like, mate? I like bands with the singer actually sings well. It's like, good singers.
Well, listen.
Not whiny moans.
Oh, listen, Nana Muscuri. We all can't, Now, I like some of the Scottish bands. I do like Travis.
Yeah, they're very good.
Mate, I like Northern England, that Northern British sound for me. Led Zeppelin, who they're up there. Stone Roses, Supergrass.
But your favourite's Oasis, righto?
Favourite's Oasis.
Okay.
Fletch.
You know who we
definitely.
You know who we've got to ask Matt about? So Michael brought out Meatloaf for the grand final.
Michael Gudinski?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. And apparently he said to Matt or something like he rehearsed like a bastard, and he said, "Oh, they're in trouble here."
Oh, that's a famous story.
Yeah.
Well, they couldn't pull him, could
No.
they? What's his real name? What's his real name? Alan?
What is his real name?
Is it Alan?
Meatloaf?
Meatloaf's real
Alan
name.
Loaf.
Marvin Lee.
Oh, Marvin Lee.
Marvin Lee a day.
Yeah.
A day, that's the one. A day.
I
A day.
met him twice, Meatloaf, right? Once was at Triple M, he came in, and it was actually just a few days before the AFL Grand Final, and he wasn't in good shape. I remember thinking, don't know how this is going to go. Lovely man. He was really, he was nice, but yeah, you're going, oh man, he was really starting to hit the wall. And then the other time was in 2004. He came on for the Footy Show Grand Final, our Grand Final edition. He came on. He was the live act. Anyway, he was in the building at the Sydney Entertainment Centre, and I said, I'd really like to meet him. And his manager said, oh, it's not a very good idea. He's not in a great mood. I went, okay. And as we're about to go out, I thought, you know what? Bugger, I'm going to have a crack. And I opened up his door to walk in, and he was crying.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I thought, you know what?
That he was on the Footy Show?
yeah, we both started crying.
Oh, dear, oh dear. I heard Gene Simmons is an A grade.
Is he?
From numerous sources.
Yeah. We had Kiss one night on the Footy Show, and mate, it was pretty ordinary. Mate, Paul Stanley, the lead singer, what he was doing, I might have told you blokes about this before. What he did, he was singing, and he had literally, like, he had a bag hanging off the not Stevie Nicks type, hanging off the microphone. It was full of guitar picks, right, and the whole crowd were full of the Kiss Army, and they were just going off. And what he was doing, he was singing a song, and every now and then he'd reach into his bag of picks and just throw one on the ground. And the Kiss Army were fighting over guitar picks. It was really awful. It was like one of those movies, French movies, where the king just throws food to the masses and they fight over it.
He was getting off on them fighting. And
he was flicking it
seagulls
on the
on a
ground.
chip.
Yeah, and they were like scampering and getting on the ground and fighting over it and stuff like that. And he just kept doing it. He was getting some satisfaction out of it. I thought, man, that's pretty ordinary.
I do that with Hindy with like donuts. When we're at work, you throw a donut out. He loves.
But he's
donuts.
got no one to fight over.
No, he loves his donuts.
All right, Matty, good job. Great
All
stuff.
right, lads.
Good stuff. Always
Look
good to
after
catch up.
yourselves.
Good on you,
boys.
Matthew.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Peace out.
and see you later. See you, ma'am.
Ezra.